The best practices for cryptocurrency storage have been top of mind recently across the media, largely due to the Quadriga Cx scandal that left over 100,000 exchange users without access to their funds. Although a hack didn't take place, the exchange's poor security practices led to the loss of millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency. Recently, finance magnates spoke to Alena Vranova, cryptocurrency security expert and head of strategy at personal security cryptocurrency company Casa. Previous to her position at Casa, Alena was one of the founders of cryptocurrency hardware wallet manufacturer Trezor. Drawing from many years of excellence and experience, Alena spoke with finance magnates about her company, the best practices for cryptocurrency storage, and the future of keeping crypto safe. Alena, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and your professional journey? How did you get to the place that you are right now in your professional life?
Oh, that was it seems like a natural path or random path, but sometimes you're thinking that there was a purpose behind like every experience that you had that kind of prepares you for the next step. And
Mhm.
so it happened to me that after studying more of the creative arts, so I have a master's in arts, in communication and marketing and like creative arts, and in linguistics, in German philology.
Mhm.
I started to get into PR and marketing, and then eventually it took me off to business development because that was the most creative thing I could think of. And I spent 10 years in in the traditional finance, so working with risk managers and insurance brokers and insurance companies, a lot of risk management. And then, 2010, I started to study again, and I was interested in geopolitics and the monetary system,
Mhm.
money, and how money works and how the world turns around money, and
Yeah.
and I was looking for a better form of money, and I found Bitcoin. So
Mhm.
I thought that that's a good answer for me. Um, and then when I had the chance to establish a company in the space, that was 2013,
And, and
with my two co-founders of Satoshi Labs, and we did the hardware wallet. So that was my path.
so that was Trezor.
That was Trezor, yes.
Right. Okay. Um, okay, so Trezor in 2013, and then what came after that?
And I left the company. I stepped down as CEO in 2017,
Mhm.
took a break, which I usually do after doing a new business. And last year, earlier the year, I met with Jeremy Welch, the CEO and founder of Casa. And we were kind of just having a coffee with no agenda, actually.
Okay.
And we ended up like talking about what we think is necessary to develop in the future and where the future may head in terms of not just key management, but also our sovereignty, our safety, the safety of individuals. And I had my ideas, that I've been playing with for a few years already. And so I started to shoot these ideas with Jeremy, and he was blown away because he was thinking very similarly. And so he had the same visions ahead. And so I said, okay, let's do it then, and let's Casa. Um, Casa provides sovereignty as a service, basically. We focus on security and safety of sovereign individuals. We are not custodian, but we help people manage their keys for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to come, but also for any other security applications ahead. And we want to make it easy for people to be secure.
I see. So for somebody who's just sort of like the average Bitcoin holder, or maybe someone who has quite a lot of cryptocurrency in their possession, What kind of specific service does Casa offer? So if I came and said, I have these Bitcoins, I don't want to be the sole person who's responsible for their storage, what could Casa offer me?
Okay, so Casa basically started off with a what we call Casa Diamond. It's a premium level service for people who have some substantial amount of crypto, Bitcoin. And what we basically do is helping our clients, first of all, keep complete control over their funds, not give away the keys, because I think that's one of the biggest sins in that you can commit in when you invest into cryptocurrencies. And we enhance the security of our customers, also the physical security. So what we do is basically we provide a multi-sig app as a base, okay, and we provide hardware wallets that our customers distribute in separate locations. There's a total of 5 keys in the structure, in the key set. Our customers have 3 hardware wallets, ledgers, and Trezors, and a mobile phone. And Casa owns one of the keys, and that's for the case. That's for emergency recovery. For example, in the highly unlikely case that you would lose not just one but 2 hardware wallets at the same time, we can help you still recover your funds and move to a new multi-sig wallet. Okay, this is the we've been thinking a lot about how to structure the multi-sig and how to structure the service so we can never be evil, so we can never run our customers into a position where their funds would be locked up, where their funds, for any reasons, security reasons, hacks, insider frauds, or even new regulatory burdens, that influence custodian services. And all of a sudden, this custodian can come up with you and say, oh, we need you to provide extra documentation for the, AML and KYC and whatnot. Otherwise, we cannot allow you to use your funds. So that's banking, right? We are the exact opposite of that. We make sure that you or your team members or your family has access when the time is right and when, in a secure way. And basically, we are also solving 2 major issues for the sovereign type of hodlers. Okay, if I can use that term. What we solve on top of amazing usability, because a lot of people, big investors, have been trying to set up their multi-sig. It's not an easy thing to do, and even if you manage to set it up, to maintain the setup and to do updates and make sure everything's working, it's a lot of work, even for technically experienced people, let's say. So we made it super easy. We made an application where our customers simply click a button, and if they lose a device, if they replace it within minutes, right? Not hours, not many days looking for backups and worrying. The other thing that we solve is, even if people try to establish their multi-sig, and for example would have a 3 of 5, okay, a total of 5 keys, where you need 3 of them in order to sign a transaction, okay, to move the money. So they would set up 5 different keys, but then also have 5 different recovery seats, backup seats. So all of a sudden, you don't enhance your security with the multi-sig, but you make it worse, because you have 10 items that you need to protect in a secure way.
Okay.
Ideally in different places. It's impossible. right? So what Casa did, and which is it's a big move forward in the security environment in general for crypto. We created a so-called seedless multi-sig.
Okay.
That's how we call it. So our customers, Casa customers, when they set up their hardware wallets and connect to their multi-sig app, they do not store any recovery words. So the 12 to 24 words, our customers don't need that.
Okay.
Just, it's simple, because when they happen to, lose, or one of their hardware wallets malfunctions, it's super easy through our interface to just replace the missing wallet with a new device.
Okay.
Does make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Just feel free to ask about details if that's not clear. I'm working in this all the time, so I'm hoping I explain everything as it works and in an understandable way.
Yeah, it seems clear so far.
Okay, and also this is a huge problem. Even while I was the CEO of Trezor, a lot of people had problems and ask these questions. So where do I store my recovery seed? Do I multiply? Do I put it in like safety deposit boxes or banks? And there is no simple and no good answer, because there's also always the risk that someone gets onto the seeds and stuff like that.
Right.
Now, another issue that Casa solves for our customers is physical security, and the reason being, or the background being, that during the past, I would say 2 to 3 years, we saw a lot of or significant increase of extortions and kidnappings, and unfortunately even killings
related to cryptocurrency.
And so the assumption is that if you have this multi-device and multi-location setup, as we do, that you can mitigate the risk to a large extent. So imagine there's a criminal, and he comes to me and holds me at gunpoint and says, "Alena, give me all your Bitcoin." And I go like, "Well, I would like to, but in order to do so, I need to go, for example, to my office. Where's one of the keys and all the people? And I need to go see my lawyer, for example." Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just decided that one of the keys is with my lawyer.
Okay.
And the cost of the risk for the intruder, for the criminal, just suddenly went to the roof, and it's very unlikely that they will go ahead.
I see.
Do we solve all criminality? No, it's impossible. Humans are super creative, and some humans are of criminal nature, so we cannot prevent everything. But I think we do a great job at this, and I hope that as this grows, as the ecosystem grows, this risk is not concerning only the let's say exposed people that are working in the space, that are on stage, and that are mining since many years, and they're known for it, but also people that are just like general investors, and people who have signed up for an account with any exchange, for example. Imagine that the exchange would have a security breach, and all the data about the customers, including their real names, their IDs, their proof of residence, in other words, where my hardware wallet could be, or where my computer could be, right? Or where my backup could be, and even the transaction history. So if this happened, I hope not, but if that happened, the criminals would have all that they need to target specifically certain individuals.
Right.
And so by Casa with the diamond service is a multi. It's like a multifaceted, fortress. It's there's no single, let's say, security tool that would solve it all. But because we are starting with great user experience and design, which makes it easy for people. When something is easy, people don't make mistakes and people use it, right? And then you have the multi-sig, multi-device, multi-location setup, and you have someone to call. And this is something that's very unique in the space, because we also provide a dedicated client advisor to each of our clients. And our clients know that 24/7 they can pick up the phone, and I don't know, they wake up at night and find they cannot locate their Trezor or ledger, and they panic or whatever. And they know they can call their dedicated advisor. And so what I like to say is, like, Casa is never holds your crypto, but is here to hold your hand if you want to.
That's great, because it, even people who have a lot of experience with cryptocurrency, I think there's still kind of that moment of panic, even when you're sending a transaction or something like that. Just, there's so many things that seem that they could go wrong. So
exactly. And we what's kind of like maybe surprising, we have customers that on the entire scale. So we have people who have very little technical insight, family offices, very traditional old money type of customers. And we have absolute nerds, even who Bitcoiners, early Bitcoiners, people who have had a very elaborate multi-sig setup, and they have studied the Glacier protocol, and they have implemented, they have been investing a lot of sweat into having a good setup. But when they hear the entire package of Casa, what we provide, they go like, oh yeah, that's definitely worth the 10K. That, just I don't have to deal with anything, and I just have a phone number to call to if I need to, and that's it, right? So we have all the spectrum of customers. It's interesting to observe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to ask you about this big disaster that's happened recently, the Quadriga Cx scandal, let's say, that is sort of slowly, hopefully, being solved right at this moment. What's
the latest news? I'm honestly, I stopped looking into it once I saw the death certificate from India, and I don't really have the latest update.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, what's happening? Not much is happening. So they've the idea is that the keys to the exchange's liquidity pools are on this encrypted laptop that is in the possession of a security expert who's trying to find these keys, but there haven't been any public announcements saying like, oh, we think we've almost got it. It's basically like the keys to the liquidity pools, even though they might one day be found, at the moment are basically gone forever. And I guess, there, and I think you kind of said this earlier, like there are some problems with cryptocurrency storage that, aren't really totally solvable. But, what, in the case of Quadriga Cx or something similar to that, does Casa have any sort of solution for that? Like, or
of course.
Yeah.
So it's super easy. Even teams and like small investment funds or crypto companies, that have 3-4 people in the management, they can use Casa Diamond because they can distribute the keys among themselves. And so none of them alone, can transfer money. They have certain checks, in between them. And this would never happen. So if there's some, if it's a cold storage, that's great. We do not provide services to, let's say, exchanges. We don't do automated co-signing and stuff like that. That's the position of companies like BitGo. They do it well. We focus on really like small teams, individuals, as I said, family offices, wealth managers. So we do have solution for that, but that's just for usually a part of the liquidity that the company has, not the operational part. But however, the better solution for Quadrigas and any exchange users is just do not keep the crypto there that you're not trading actively. And it's this year I'm keeping to hear a lot of like custody topics, of course. And I wanted to mention like the line of thought that I have here. I spent 10 years in the traditional finance and banking, and so people started to use those banks because it was not safe to have a pile of cash at home, right? There is a reason behind having a custodian service such as bank account, because it's just like, even if you take the pile of cash and divide in 3 piles and distribute in different stashes, if someone comes and steals one of the stash, you just lost a third, so you will lose, right? So distributing money in different, like cash in different places, doesn't work. But distributing keys in a multi-sig structure is a completely different story, right? So if anyone gets the hand on one of the keys, he would have to have the knowledge of the PIN and how to actually initiate. He couldn't, in case of Casa, he couldn't even initiate the transaction, right? He could even get the hands on 2 or 3 keys, and that intruder will still not be able to move the funds. So we are in the crypto world, we are all of a sudden having a very different scenario, and entrusting your investment to a third party is, as I said earlier, a sin. It's very normal that people are tending towards this solution, because until Casa, it was really difficult to maintain a good security setup if that's not your business, right? So I absolutely understand that, but it's not necessary. And on top of not being necessary, it's very risky. You are introducing a huge, huge risk that is just hard to, for me, it would be hard to justify.
Right. I guess I'm also curious, does Casa offer any sort of insurance to its users?
No.
Okay.
The insurance is the entire security setup.
Okay.
We have many checks, even like on the builds that we do of the software. We have a lot of safety mechanisms built in. And as I worked for insurance companies, I kind of understand how the insurance business works. And, when it comes to a claim, the claim adjuster, the insurance company will primarily look into, okay, can you prove that nobody from your company got the knowledge and hold of the keys? Can you prove, and they will probably find either limitations to the coverage. So, they would say, yeah, but we only cover a certain amount. So with volatile markets, you may find yourself not covered, or just partially. or they will probably try to find some small, like this footprint in the insurance conditions that would allow them not to fulfill their obligations, right?
Right.
And so uh, although I don't think that insurance is always unnecessary, it's very important in certain things and certain areas. But in crypto, besides, there's only maybe one or two, or I'm sure less than five insurance companies in the world that can do the coverage, and they can, they have actuaries that understand this risk.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be Lloyd's of London, I'm sure. That's that's the big innovator in insurance, right? And yeah, I cannot really think of any other now. I'm sure there are a few, but
Yeah, there are a few,
not
but
too many.
yeah, that has
Yeah.
been a problem that has come up. It's like, what does this insurance actually mean if I have it? How much coverage am I actually getting?
Right. Yeah.
So kind of circling back to something that you said earlier, you if when you gave the example of the criminal who says, okay, like, take me to your office and give me all your bitcoins or whatever. But you'd have to go into these different locations in order to make the transaction. So so anytime that somebody wanted to make a transaction from their Casa storage, do they need to get that multi-sig or?
So what we do is, of course, we don't expect people to have all their money in this kind of super secure cold storage, because sometimes they want to use some. So there's a mobile wallet or single key with just one hardware wallet, possible in Casa. That's another. We have several key sets. The major benefit is the multi-sig, the 3 of 5. What we call the key shield. But of course, you will not need to keep all your funds in there. It's just like with a wallet, right? You keep in your hot wallet change money that if you lose it, you're fine, right? You don't cry, you don't get broke.
Yeah. Okay, I see. So there's sort of different little pools of money.
Key set. Yeah, we call it key sets. So it's a key set. So you can either have a set of 5 keys in a multi-sig, or you have a single key wallet. You just have a hot wallet. So key sets.
I see. And the hardware wallets that Casa is integrated with at the moment are Trezor and Ledger wallets. Is that true?
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. Are there plans to ever expand that into being integrated with mobile hardware wallets? Like for example, the Samsung Galaxy S10, I think it was yesterday, announced that they have cryptocurrency storage capabilities built into that. So are there any concrete plans or exploration of that in the future?
We are constantly looking around and trying to see if there's of course we want to add more hardware wallet support. The reason being, from the pure risk management perspective, it's just better for our customers to have different vendors and have either 2 Trezors and 1 Ledger, or vice versa. So we are definitely looking into that. The issue here is there's a lot of clones of Trezor, for example. Okay. Such as KeepKey and e-wallet and B-wallet, and there's a few more that basically take the open source code of Trezor and they build their hardware, and we cannot offer this as a solution because there's codependencies, right? If there's something not working in Trezor, then it will probably be the same problem with those other wallets. So the code base has to be independent, original, right? And it has to be proven by time, and by users. And I'm also saying by Salim Rashid. Which, do you know Salim?
I don't think I do, actually.
Salim, he's a very talented security researcher, a hacker. He's quite young, but has a considerable knowledge and experience. And he's the person who usually finds some bugs and
Yes,
reports to Ledger and to Trezor, and he works across the board. So I'm that's my internal joke. Like, guys, we will support any hardware wallet that passes the Salim. Uh,
Mhm. I see. Are there any, is there a possibility in the future that Casa will make its own hardware wallets?
no, actually not. We don't want to do that. Um, what we are building here is like a second layer on top of hardware wallets. Okay,
Okay.
we want people who understand hardware wallets and who just are doing just that and just focusing on the security of hardware wallets to keep doing that. And we will keep doing what we're good at. So we will do other security and the services on top, and expand the product portfolio eventually. But we will not do, there's currently no intention
I see.
whatsoever.
And I'm just curious, from your perspective as one of the founders of Trezor and someone who works in security still, um, you know, hardware wallets are at the moment like the kind of the gold standard in the industry as far as cold storage is concerned. Um, I'm curious how you see hardware wallets and cryptocurrency storage in general developing over the next, let's say 5 to 10 years. Like, will there always be just these little, blocks of plastic and metal that hold our cryptocurrency, or will these things eventually adopt biometrics, or will cloud storage become more important, or what are your thoughts on that?
Ah, that's a good question. There will be a huge amount of different approaches, but only few of them will prove themselves
Yeah.
working and actually secure. Um, in regards to biometrics, that's something that sounds fancy, but has to be applied sparingly and with care, because biometrics are usually things easy to copy,
Yeah.
or relatively easy to mimic. For example, if you use fingerprints, okay, usually the fingerprint scanners don't scan the entire fingerprint, but they scan a few points, right, and match. And so somewhere I was reading earlier that you only need a collection of 200 different fingerprints in order to match one.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Right. So you need to consider where and how to use biometrics. Like, face recognition is great, right? But you need to combine the security with something else. So usually something you have is your face, okay, or your voice, but then something should be in the game. So we will probably see more attempts to go to Bluetooth, such as Ledger did recently. We will probably see these. We will probably see more hardware wallets embedded into other devices. There's one that I cannot remember the name right now, but I'm sorry to the producer. But there's one. It's a phone basically with like a little built-in pane that you slide from back, and then you can use it. I haven't tested. I haven't seen it too much in the internals, but so it is natural that people just want to carry it easily, carry those hardware wallets. So I would say, maybe something embedded in a watch form factor, or with the phone, or just stick to the back of the phone, or whatever makes it easier. But in general, like this is for the hardware wallets. In general, for the security, I think now that we have, advances, because here's the thing, multi-sig is in Bitcoin since very early days, since like 2011.
Mm-hmm.
But the use of it is like among individuals, it's very low, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Among companies, is a little bit better. But I've seen for example, projects that have, did fundraise or did their ICO, and they still don't have a multi-sig setup among the team, right? So as we progress, I think now that we have a seedless approach, and now we know there will be more different approaches to multi-sig that hopefully will make it more usable. I think that's the way to go
Right.
forward. So not throwing the hardware bullets into the waste bin, definitely not, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the foundational layer. That's the only secure way for end users to generate private keys because it's
Mm-hmm.
offline, right?
Right.
Um, so definitely, I see hardware wallets being in the game, but better multi-sig and services that come with it.
I
And of course, we will also see development of custodial services.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just natural, there will be always customers for that. I hope as little as possible, but
Mm-hmm.
there will be. There's even like some businesses have to have a custodial service because the law says so, and the
Right.
law says so just because that was the case for the traditional banking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Traditional finance. So I was just recently talking with some lawyer in the US, and we were contemplating like, hey, we actually should go and lobby to change this law because for crypto assets, it doesn't make sense that it's enforced, right? It should be,
Right.
okay, if you want, choose a custodial service or just maintain your assets yourself.
Mm-hmm. I see. Um, Alena, I think that's all the questions that I really have for today.
Mhm.
Before we go, do you have any announcements, or can you tell our listeners where they can find Casa if that's something they're interested in?
Of course, if I may take the opportunity also to talk a little bit about the Casa node, because we
Oh,
did
yeah. Please tell us
touch
about the
on that.
Casa Nodes.
And it is a part of the mission towards sovereign and secure and safe individuals or teams. We originally created Casa Node, which it's a little piece of hardware,
Mm-hmm.
a plug and play box, basically, that allows our customers to run a Bitcoin full node
Mm-hmm.
and a Lightning Network node,
Okay.
and
Awesome.
have autopilot set up the Lightning channels and fund the channels. And basically, we're aiming to, not just foster the ecosystem and make sure that there's enough nodes and that the system is enough like decentralized, but primarily allow our users, our clients, relay their own transactions. So we're talking now about the Bitcoin full node.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with using any services, even like hardware wallets, right? When you use Ledger or Trezor, you usually would go and use their online interface or
Uh-huh.
their app, right? The problem with that is that you relay your and you accept your transactions through nodes that are not yours,
Mm-hmm.
that are of other companies. And so potentially it has privacy implications. It could
Okay. I
be
see.
also a security implication. And then at the same time, we really want to help people get onto Lightning and play with it, although it's very early and
Mm-hmm.
reckless to do. But we are aiming to really bring some user experience that's not command line and that's not nerdy. So this is a part of our offering as well. We opened up the node outside of the diamond. In the diamond product that we're offering, the nodes and hardware wallets and everything comes in the package. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we thought the node is something really useful for people who cannot afford a diamond service, but they still want to play with the nodes. So we opened that as a separate offering, basically.
Okay, that's
So,
very exciting.
and what's to come? A lot of stuff. So we have updates and new releases lined up to almost every other week. This team is like a team on steroids, you know. Uh, so I'm trying to see like what I should probably not tell too much, but maybe just follow Casa on Twitter or the blog. Um, Casa Hodl is the handle to stay up to date. We
Mm-hmm.
will be we are looking into adding more cryptocurrencies. So currently the 305 is for Bitcoin. We are not very comfortable with the multisig for Ethereum, so we are kind of waiting it out and waiting for the community to at least vet some smart contract, because Ethereum does not have the multisig inherently in the
Mm-hmm.
you need to do a smart contract. So we're looking into more of these assets into lower price tiers as well, right?
Okay.
Because right now the diamond offering costs $10,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously for people who have, let's say, $500,000 or more worth of Bitcoin.
Right.
But we're preparing lower price tiers and different service offerings with it, so anyone can have a casa. We call this, so that there's this app which we call Casa Keymaster, and we have another saying like the one keymaster in every pocket and one casa node at every home.
Wonderful.
That's where we're going.
Love it. Okay, yeah, Alena, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you.
Likewise, Rachel.